press your nose against your phone screen. The picture disappears. In its place, a grid of tiny glowing squares, each one lit in one of three colors. Red, green, blue. That is the entire screen. That is all there is. A grid of squares, each glowing one of three colors at different intensities, and your eye blending them into every image you have ever seen on a digital screen. Those squares are pixels, and almost everything about how modern screens work comes from understanding exactly what they are. The word was coined in the 1960s. An engineer named Frederick Billingsley at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory in California needed a term for the individual units in digitized satellite images. Picture element compressed into one word. Pixel. It stuck. A pixel is the smallest discrete unit of a digital image, but describing it as a dot of light misses the most important thing about it. A pixel is not one color. It is three. Every pixel in every screen you have ever used is constructed from three subpixels, a red one, a green one, and a blue one. Each subpixel is independently controlled. By adjusting the brightness of each relative to the others, the pixel can simulate almost any color in the visible spectrum. Why those three colors? Because of your eyes. The human eye contains three types of color-sensitive receptor cells, called cones. One type responds most strongly to long wavelengths of light, which we perceive as red. One responds to medium wavelengths, which we perceive as green. One to short wavelengths, which we perceive as blue. Your brain interprets color by comparing the relative signals from these three types of cone. It does not see the world as a continuous spectrum of wavelengths. It samples light at 3 points and reconstructs the rest from the ratios between them. Red, green, and blue were chosen for screens precisely because they correspond to those three sampling points. Illuminate them in the right proportions, and your brain is convinced it is seeing a color that is not physically present. Orange, for instance, does not exist in your screen. There is no orange subpixel. Orange is produced by driving the red subpixel at high intensity and the green subpixel at medium intensity, and letting your visual system blend them into the color you perceive. White works the same way. Drive all three subpixels at full brightness simultaneously, and the brain receives a strong signal from all three cone types at once. It interprets that combination as white, even though no white light source is involved. Turn all three off, and you see black. The screen emits nothing, and your visual system fills in the absence. Now consider how many of these pixels fit on a modern screen. A typical smartphone display contains more than 2 million pixels. Each one has 3 subpixels, more than 6 million individually addressable light sources in an area you can cover with your palm. The density is measured in pixels per inch. The human eye cannot distinguish individual pixels above roughly 300 per inch at normal viewing distance. Apple's Retina display standard was built around exactly this limit. Beyond it, adding more pixels produces no visible improvement. The eye has no mechanism to use the additional detail. This is why screen resolution matters less the further you sit from the screen. A television with 4,000 horizontal pixels looks indistinguishable from a 2,000 pixel television if you were sitting 3 meters away, because at that distance, both are beyond what your eye can resolve anyway. The screen is not creating a faithful reproduction of reality. It is exploiting a very specific set of constraints in human vision. There is a deeper version of this point. The image you think you are seeing is not on the screen. The screen sends electrical signals to millions of tiny light sources. Your eye receives that light and sends signals to your brain. Your brain constructs an experience of an image. The actual image lives in your visual cortex, built from sampled data by a biological reconstruction process you have no conscious access to. The pixel is not the image. The pixel is the input. What your brain does with that input, the filling in, the color blending, the sharp edges inferred from patterns, is the same process it uses when looking at the physical world. A painting is oil on canvas. A photograph is light-sensitive chemicals. A screen is an electrical signal through a grid of color emitting points. All of them work because your brain is willing to be fooled. The pixel just happens to be the most precise version of that trick ever invented. Now you know.